Welcome back, and we are joined over the phone by Mr. Abdulrahman, a journalist and a political analyst. Good afternoon, Mr. Amr.
Good afternoon to you. Hello to you and the distinguished viewers.
So, Mr. Amr, heavy clashes and bombardments Saturday rocked Gaza's southern city of Rafah as Israeli military announced the first 310 pallets of humanitarian aid had entered the besieged territory via a U.S.-built pier. How do you see the recent escalations and developments in Gaza?
Well, of course, the escalation of the situation has started by the that the Zionist troops has committed to Palestinian Rafah, near to our borders, our eastern borders. By this action, they have stopped passing the supplies and the aid for the Palestinians, the civilians who are blocked in there, under siege and under brutal attacks by the Zionist barbarian army. The Egyptian situation always firm and always clear. We have declared that this action is a negative step and a setback to the negotiations, the line of negotiations that was going on successfully until the last moment. So now, we have witnessed a new statement by our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Sameh Shukri, directed to the responsibles in Tel Aviv, making it clear that our situation will be escalated and we'll take further steps, and we have options to take, just like we already have taken a week ago when we have declared joining South Africa in slow suit in the International Court of Law against the Zionist existence. We have options all the time, and we need to make it clear that we will never stop or cease our support to the Palestinians and the firm situation defending the right to fight, the right to resist in their homeland. And we reject and we stopped and we have succeeded to stop the agenda of displacing the Palestinians from Rafah and Gaza Strip into Sinai in Egypt, as well as we are speaking right now, the level of the resistance, the Palestinian resistance, has raised up to a level that we have never witnessed since months. I believe that when some powers, some sides, they thought that the Palestinian resistance have already dead or eliminated. On the contrary, they are doing a wonderful job, and they are fighting back the aggression despite the martyrs they lose, and despite the civilians who are going down by thousands and hundreds, and homes that are being demolished under the bombarding by the Israelis. We have a critical situation, and as Mr. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has declared it in his speech, his historical speech in the Arab Summit in Bahrain, this will be a sword against the conscience of the whole world. The whole world, as nations, have realized the truth and standing by the Palestinians who have the right in their own occupied lands. But still, the regimes in the West and some other countries are still supporting the aggression side, which is the Zionist existence. This tsunami of blood that is going on and being shed on the Holy Lands will never stop until Israel itself will be drowned in it. Israel will drown in its own blood, in its own crimes.
Yes, Mr. Amr, Hamas said that the floating pier is not an alternative to opening all land crossings. How do you see that?
Well, I believe that Hamas now I believe that they shouldn't talk, as they should take actions on the ground. Hamas's role, Hamas's mission is only to go there and fight, and to unite the efforts of all Palestinians under the flag of Palestine, under the symbol of the land, the Arabic land, not under any other symbol. That's the resistance role. That's the resistance mission in this critical time in our history. Despite there is a dark tunnel that we are going through, but I believe that there is a light in the end of that dark tunnel. As for the resistance, as for the whole powers, in political powers in Palestine, they should unite their efforts, and that's exactly the Egyptian strategy: is to unite the Palestinian powers and to revive the PLO, to be the symbol that the whole Palestinians can gather around politically, militarily, diplomatically. That's the vision that comes, that sees how the future should be. If you're really serious about establishing the new state, if the Palestinians have this will, this persistence to establish that independent state on their own land, they should unite their efforts, their wills, and stop the division they are suffering since years now.
So, sir, Egypt has become the 6th Arab country to join the case against Israel. How do you see the effect of the case so far? How would the joining of more countries impact developments?
That decision was a great decision made by South Africa leader, goes without saying. But the way of Egypt, the strength of Egypt, the influence, the international influence of Egypt will make that case even stronger, double or 3 times. And that's why we have witnessed too many reflections in the political corridors in Tel Aviv. That decision was a shocking decision to them, and they have called it an earthquake that hit the heart of Tel Aviv. That's the Hebrew lines of the media in Tel Aviv. So that's a very great decision taken, and we should stand by all the forces, all the free forces, all the free leaderships in the whole world, and to unite our own efforts against the Zionist existence and those who are supporting them. And today, too many reports are talking about the isolation that Israel is in right now. Israel is facing truly international isolation. We're talking now as the level of regimes. The regimes is under pressure of the nations all around the world. The nations that they don't believe anymore the Western media, and only believe what they see live from the Holy Land and from the Arabic occupied lands. They see the martyrs, they see the resistance, they see the crimes, the historical barbarian crimes against the Arabs. For the first time in near history, the Arabs have a different vision, a different look from the West, especially from the Western countries. They have always had the same manipulated vision that was dictated on them by the Western media, but now they are seeing the truth directly by own themselves. I believe today is a very important day, despite It looks, as I said, it looks like we are going through a dark tunnel, but I'm sure that there is a light at the end of this tunnel.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Amr Abdulrahman, journalist. Thank you for being with us today. And back to our news from Gaza. The U.S. military said the first trucks began supplying aid to the war-ravaged Gaza Strip via temporary pier as fighting raged in the Palestinian territory. With Gazans facing hunger, the U.S. military said trucks carrying humanitarian assistance began moving ashore via the long-awaited pier, which the U.S. Central Command said was anchored to a Gaza beach on Thursday. Details in this report. The U.S. military said the first trucks began supplying aid to the war-ravaged Gaza Strip via temporary pier as fighting raged in Palestinian territory. Israeli military announced the first 310 pallets of humanitarian aid had entered the besieged territory via a U.S.-built pier. With Gazans facing hunger, the U.S. military said trucks carrying humanitarian assistance began moving ashore by the long-awaited pier, which the U.S. Central Command said was anchored to Gaza Beach on Thursday. The U.S. military has said in the coming days around 500 tons of aid is expected to enter Gaza, where the United Nations has warned of a looming famine. However, Hamas stressed that the floating pier is not an alternative to opening all land crossings. The aid is being shipped out of Cyprus, the European Union's easternmost member, around 360 kilometers from Gaza. With key land crossing closed on operating at limited capacity due to the fighting, some relief supplies began flowing into the war-ravaged Gaza via temporary floating pier constructed by the United States, but UN agencies and humanitarian aid groups have warned that the so-called maritime corridor and ongoing aid drops from planes cannot replace far more efficient truck convoys into Gaza, where the United Nations has repeatedly warned of looming famine. The European Union welcomed the first shipment from Cyprus to Gaza pier, but called on Israel to expand deliveries by land and to immediately open additional crossings. Aid groups have said the Rafah incursion has further hampered aid deliveries, with the southern cities crossing on the Egypt border, a vital conduit for humanitarian assistance, now shut. Israel has accused Israel in turn of denying responsibility for a humanitarian crisis in Gaza and says that truck drivers and aid workers do not feel safe crossing through an Israeli checkpoint into Gaza.